John, Georgia. Almost made it happen, man. I turned to my left and saw a bird cross this road. It had to have seen our decoy. It crossed from this side over this way. Had our decoy right there. He crossed. I had my eye on him. He finally faded out. And I looked back to Mr. Craig, my girlfriend's dad, and he has his gun up and shoots. Bird right in the food plot. We don't know what happened. We were kind of sitting back in the thick stuff, and there was a bunch of brush, so he ended up missing, but we were covered in them today. So this is pretty much how our 2018 turkey season started off. Opening day, we got on some birds, but just could not close the deal. And birds were gobbling all over the property, but we just couldn't find where they were going to. We knew that we had to intercept these birds and try to catch them going to their destination to have a shot at killing them. We began to ride around the property and started to find tons of birds out in the fields. Although we saw birds, not many gobblers, and a handful of hens. In this field in particular, we actually saw a couple bearded hens. First bearded hens I had ever seen, which is pretty cool. They just fed in the fields, but never did we see that gobbler. We knew we were in the right place because we heard them gobble off the roost, but they just weren't going to those fields yet. This is the same spot where we had those birds on opening day. I'm gonna sit tight and see what happens. We didn't stop hunting though. That's the thing. A lot of people want to give up when they can't figure out the birds, but that's the part that we're in love with down here in South Georgia. Is figuring out those birds, knowing where to set up, and hoping one day the plan comes together. Again, hens in the field, but no gobbler to be found. I began to use my maps to try to figure out exactly where these birds were roosting so I could find where they were going. I knew if I put myself in that lane of where they were heading towards, I'd be able to catch one of them making a mistake. But the hens just seem to be the vulnerable ones, and of course those are the ones that you can't kill. We kept on scouting, and of course we saw birds everywhere except in front of our shotgun. I mean, we saw them on the street. We saw them crossing through our backyard. and even saw a few crossing the dirt road onto our property. But again, just a bunch of hens. But then this happened. From the back porch, we just spotted a bird. About to try to get on him down here in South Georgia. Let's do it. Unfortunately, we couldn't close the deal on that gobbler back behind our house, but we knew that these gobblers were starting to get with these hens, so we knew if we were where the hens were, a gobbler was going to come. And sure enough, the next time we checked that field where we saw all those hens, the gobbler was with them. And it's the biggest gobbler I had ever seen. He was putting on a show for us, strutting in the field, letting that paintbrush hang, and was just the dominant bird of this entire part of the property. Unfortunately, this field is not our field. It's not our property, and we don't have access to hunt it. But this field actually butts up to another field, and that field meets our property. So there were a couple mornings where we tried to go on that tree line and see if maybe if those birds were roosting on our side of the property, but unfortunately they weren't. We knew this bird was going to be a hard bird to kill. We watched them for hours, glassing, got him on video camera, and not once did he gobble. He flew right into that field every single morning, exactly where those hens were. This right here is a very smart and old bird, hence to why he's so big. Although all we could do with this bird is see him through our camera and not through our shotgun sights, we knew that we needed to do something to be able to fill our tag down there in South Georgia. Knowing that these gobblers were starting to get with these hens out in this open area so they can strut and be seen, we knew that we needed to get as close as we could to a field edge that we had access to. Although we don't have any footage of it, there's a field that you'll see here shortly that we kept on passing, and we knew eventually there would be a gobbler in it, and one afternoon, it finally happened. I made a game plan to get on that field edge that next morning, and to say the least, the plan came together for once. Stay tuned to the Gonzo Outdoors channel to see the most exciting turkey hunt I've ever had.